Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CSGO Clutch Podcast. My name is Adam Cohn. I am your host. It is a solo pod edition today on the podcast. Dan has the night off, but I do have his thoughts for this slate. Um, so ready to move on from yesterday's slate. I won a little bit of money and still was tilted by the outcomes of that Team Liquid game. They should have never lost. That's just absolutely crazy. Congratulations, Dignitas. You upset one of the top 5 teams in the world and embarrassed them on Nuke. That's just I'm so ready to move past that game. I just don't understand it. But hey, congratulations to Dignitas. I'll be playing them against OG most likely, and also depending on price. Let's do as we always do here on the podcast. And sorry, I sounded a little tilted. It was just it just still shocks me that Liquid got upset. Team Liquid got upset like just badly, which was just a little surprising. Anyway, here we go. Reviewing the winning lineup from this past slate was a 2-2-2 takedown. No surprise here, too. Dignitas were on the winning lineup and 2OG were on the winning lineup. Congrats to OG for taking down Astralis. Dan, they're not old, sir. I think Astralis have just been figured out. Or there's something going on there. I have no idea. So 2OG, 2G2, 2 Dignitas. You needed the big guns on G2 and Nico and Hunter to win this GPP. You also needed the really low-owned plays and Dignitas to win. With that being said, Captain Mantu at 4.1% owned ended up at 108.75 DK points, 38-9-22 with the 1v2 clutch. Was the winning captain. Valde went nuts, 48-10-26, 2 4Ks, 87 DraftKings points. Nico and Hunter also went absolutely bonkers. Nico with tons of bonuses. He was 47, 22, and 30. 7 first kills, 1 1v3 clutch, and a 1 4K. Hunter also 79 DK points. Lecro had 90.5 DK points, and Heap had 81 DK points. Dignitas looked really good. This team might actually show something. It really, really might. Nothing really to break down here. You had to have the double dog leverage in OG and Dignitas. OG, as Dan talked about yesterday, were a great spot. It was there. They were good on pricing. They were good on a lot of things. But you needed to add in the 2 Dignitas to win. You weren't winning with 2 Team Liquid, obviously. But congrats to Stroller for the solo $5,000 takedown. Key to the slate were the 2 Dignitas folks, and Stroller had the right combo in Lecro and Heap. Yeah, really not much else to be said. 2-2-2, great strategy for a 3-game slate. And, you know, the 6.4% that played Lecro and the 5.7% that played Heap, you know, not many people played them. That's why it's leverage. And as crazy as it is, the Team Liquid lost. That's the ownership that wins you a GPP. Because if you had either of these two, you probably cashed. Just because of how low owned they were. But we're not here to break down every lineup. We're here to break down the winning lineup and what helps us get better. Is no matter how big of an underdog you are, or I mean, Dignitas wasn't that bad of an underdog, and they've been playing really good Counter Strike. But you needed them. I just didn't think Team Liquid would be embarrassed like that. Just absolutely crazy. So a 2-2-2 wins it. You need the big guns of Nico and Hunter. Lecro and Heap for Dignitas, they looked really good. And Mantu and Valde. Again, Valde had more points, but because of how cheap Mantu was and at 4.1% on the captain spot, plus with the Dignitas, got this to be a really unique lineup. Congrats again to Stroller for the $5,000 solo takedown. Let's get to today's slate. This is going to be really quick, folks. Again, there's really not much to talk about here. First game here on the slate is Team Spirit versus Extra Salt. Extra Salt, for those of you who may have not been, maybe new to the Counter-Strike DFS scene, most of the Extra Salt roster is comprised of the old Cloud9 roster from 2020. Not the new Cloud9 project, the old Cloud9. The one with Floppy and OC and Modem and Sonic and... Why am I blanking last one? JT, my bad. So, 3 of those 5 are still here. Modem, I believe, has been benched. So Sonic, OC, and JT from the original Cloud9 roster. Fang and Marky. Marky joined from the old Chaos group before they disbanded. They shut down, I believe, due to pandemic-related expenses or whatever the case was. And Fang joined this team as well. Probably get off captain pricing. There we go. This game is really easy. You play 2 to 3 Team Spirit and move on. I'm not disrespecting Extra Salt. They're not that good. We can go over here to HLT.org. Let's actually take a look at some of their stats. Team Spirit are just, they're too good. And let's take a look. Ooh, interesting quote from device. It is to be expected that some things might change. Interesting quote. Dan and I might talk about this on the podcast tomorrow. So let's take a look here, folks. How are the matches? Actually, we want results. So let's go results here. Actually, no, I'll tell you what. I do want matches. Event, blast matches. There we go. Let's head over to the Extra Salt roster. What have their stats been for the last, let's just say, 3 months? They're not exactly playing against high-end talent. So let's just take a look at everything online over the last month. They've played 16 maps over the last month. Kind of really no surprise here. OC is a plus 130. Sonic is really surprising at a plus 88. But again, kind of sort of the second best player on this team. Marky with a plus 41. Fang with a plus 32. JT minus 14. Let's go over the last 3 months. Well, we can't see Marky's after last 3 months. He's a recent addition to the team. This team has been really good. OC, not surprising. We know how talented the kid is. He's plus 540 over the last 3 months. Again, if we just put take a ranking filter against the top 30, I'll take it against top 30 because they're going against Team Spirit. Top 20. So they haven't played in the top 20 teams, but they've played some like that 20 to 30 range. OC is plus 78 with a 1.5 kill to death ratio. Sonic is plus 35. Marky is plus 8. Fang is minus 2. JT is minus 18. What about top 50? Did that change anything? Not really. It's still OC and Sonic. If you're MMEing and want some exposure, OC and Sonic are the way to go. I just think Team Spirit should absolutely dominate and crush Extra Salt. Yeah, there's what I'm going to say here. All of Team Spirit are in play. My favorites are really Mir, Dexter, and Chopper in that order. And I like Magisk as well. But yeah, all 5 Team Spirit are in play. Next game here on the slate is Nazar versus Gambit. I'm not even going to waste everyone's time. All 5 Gambit are in play. Interest is even in play. Fade Nazar outright. Congrats to them for getting to this stage. Gambit are the best team in the world. I'd be shocked if Nazar won more than 10 rounds a game. Gambit are going to be out to prove something, and I don't even know anyone from this team. To be perfectly honest with all of you, I know no one from Nazar. And, yeah, just this should be a stomping from Gambit. All 5 Gambit are in play. Fade Nazar. The interesting thing is pricing here on the slate is Shira's the most expensive at 10,800. Axile's 10,000 and Hobbit's 8,800. 3 of the top 5 highest priced players on this slate are from Gambit. Just keep that in mind. So how I would attack this slate, very simply, is either 2 or 3 Spirit, 2 or 3 Team Spirit, 2 or 3 Gambit, and then 1 of MIBR or Furia. I even think a 3-3 is viable. If you really want to get crazy in MME formats, I think a 3-3 is viable. It's just good luck getting a 3-3 to work with how pricing is on the slate. If you can make it work, more power to you. Again, not going to stay long on this game. All 5 Gambit. Fade Nazar. I don't even really have a favorite from Gambit. Everyone's in play. You're going to have to figure out, based on roster construction and salary, how you can get Gambit to fit. Inter is obviously, well, Inter is my least favorite on this team. I just don't know. I don't know what we're going to, like, how long these games are going to last, to be honest. Or these maps are going to last, to be honest. Anyway. Again, play Gambit. Fade Nazar. Before I put it on to the last game, if everyone could hit that like button, please. And leave a comment down below if you would like. And then also hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. And hit the notification bell. That way there you all know every time one of these podcasts drop. Really helps us out. Dan and I are trying to grow this thing. There doesn't seem to be really any other podcast out in the market for Counter-Strike DFS. I'm sure there's some Counter-Strike podcasts out there, but what we do is kind of a hybrid. Yes, we're focused more on the DFS aspect of Counter-Strike, but also Dan and I get to chit-chat Counter-Strike in general too, so we're a little bit of a hybrid show. With that being said, before I get into MIBR and Fury, I want to go over what Dan sent, and these are his thoughts. Dan says to not get cute with anybody. With anyone, rather. He doesn't think that any of the dogs even have a slight chance. I would agree with that sentiment. Dan also says he really likes Axile, Magisk, Chopper, Dexter, Vinny, and Quesarado. So those are the ones he really likes. Dan thinks that Axile is going to have a field day with entries. Dan also likes Magisk. In that group, Dan likes Magisk for value. He likes Chopper for Dust 2. He likes Dexter because of Train and Dust 2. He also likes Vinny again. Vinferno versus a weaker team. He also likes Quesarado, and Dan says this, Quesarado, because he's awesome. I like it. Dan also wants to let everyone know he's fading Shiro and fading Mir. He's also staying away from IGLs because he believes the rest of their teams should get all the kills. I don't know how much I agree with that last sentiment, but I do think this is just going to be a fragging frenzy for Team Spirit and for Gambit. I do think Art could do well on the Furia side of things as an IGL, but we'll get there. Actually, kind of sort of a nice segue. We're going to get into MIBR versus Furia, which is the last game here on the slate. Kind of no surprise here. Quesarado, Yuri, and Art, the 3 highest priced members for Furia. Quesarado's at 9,400. I think that's a little expensive for him. But I will say this, if Quesarado goes off at 9,400 with as expensive as the rest of the guys that we want to get to are, Quesarado could come in at sub 15% ownership. Yuri's 8,400. That's a good price tag for him. Art's at 7,600. I like that price tag. Vinny's at 6,400. Like that price tag for him. Junior's at 5,800. He's the opper for Furia. On the MIBR side of things, Dinoco is out of MIBR, or he's been benched. They have brought in Exit. I am not familiar with this kid at all. And they still have their other core of Cello, Yell, Bolts, and Shuz. This is a game you got to figure out how you want to go. So let's head back over here to hltv.org. Let's go back to matches. Let's go here to event and go to Blast. And let's go to Fury MIBR. So if we just let's head to Exit. So Exit, what team was he on before? He was on the Sharks roster. So he's been on Sharks for last couple of years, really, from August 2017 to March of 2021 before he joined the MIBR roster. Head over here to his stats. Let's head to his stats. So if we just take on his online play over the last 3 months, he's played 23 maps over the last 3 months. The stats are good. So he's got a 1.26 kill to death ratio. Again, Sharks is like a tier 3 team, kind of sort of maybe tier 2. So the competition is what it is. So he's going to face obviously much competition here in tier 1. But again, that's something to sneeze at with a 1.26 kill to death ratio. He's also got an ADR of 78.6, a KPR of 0.71. He's got a rating of 1.17 with an impact rating of 1.07. Exit is primarily a rifle fragger. Doesn't look like he's picked up the op at all in the last couple of months. Let's get a bigger sample size from this kid. Let's go over the last 6 months. Stats are still good. Even better, actually. So, like, this kid could start being an anchor for MIBR. I like MIBR for large field GPPs. It will help you get different with the rest of your lineup builds. So if we head back, let's take a look at... I want to take a look at the rest of the MIBR roster. So Bolts over the last 3 months, he's been okay. 1.02 kill death ratio, 76.3 ADR, 1.04 impact, 1.04 rating. He's okay. Cello's really been the great one for this team. He's kind of been the ace of this team so far. I still think he is. I believe Cello is the opper. No, he's a rifler. Okay. Let's see. For the last 3 months, he's got a 1.01 kill to death ratio, 81.5 ADR. That's great. A 1.24 impact rating. That's really good. KPR of 0.72. That's really good. A 1.10 rating overall. Shuz is the opper maybe? Let's find out who... Oh, Yell's the opper. I apologize. Yell is the opper. And Shuz has okay stats too. Wouldn't go anything too crazy here. Yell being the opper for the team. His stats aren't that good. I see a lot of red here on this page, folks. A lot of red. 0.98 kill to death ratio. So I think what I'm going to do, I think you can play anyone from Furia. Furia's all in play. Junior's too cheap, but he needs to start showing it. I think the stats maybe a little bit soothing. Yell's okay. I don't think he's terrible. My favorites from this team. So if we just head back, overview, and I want to go matches. I want to take a snapshot here, folks, of what is their overall stats, MIBR, online over the last 3 months. Interesting stats here, actually. So let's take a look at this. Cello is actually only +7, which I find very interesting. Bolts is +20, Shuz is +27, Yell's -15. Dinoco, who I believe has been benched, is a -186. So, while the stats don't jump off the page from everybody, I think for me it's Cello, Exit, and Shuz on the slate, and Shuz is too cheap. But again, Exit 7,400, Cello is 6,800, Yell is 6,600, Bolts is 6,000, Shuz once again at 5,400. It's going to be tough to get to Exit and Cello with as many other expensive guys we want to jam in our lineups as possible. Furia side of things, like I said, all of Furia in play. I really like Vinny and Junior and Art. I think it's going to be tough to get the Quesarado and Yuri, but that you can make that different maybe by playing some different combinations of Team Spirit and Gambit in your lineups. Core value, GVP play here, and this is like, oh, I do want to mention one other thing on MIBR and Furia before we get to our core value and GVP segment. Cello, for me, is like a gut call on the slate. I really like Cello of anyone over MIBR first. I know I said that. I could see a one-off Cello maybe making some noise. I'm just going to put that out there. I could see a one-off Cello making some noise on the slate. Again, I think the way we really need to attack the slate, folks, we need to get 3 or 2 of Team Spirit, 3 or 2 of Team Gambit, and then fill in with MIBR or Furia. We need to exploit the easy matchups and then figure out where we want to go from there. Vinny does well against subpar teams. I don't know how subpar this is going to be now with the introduction of Exit onto this roster. This MIBR roster doesn't scare me. They're going to get better. I mean, again, Boom wasn't exactly a tier 1 team. You know, they were more like tier 2, more or less. In my opinion, I don't think they were ever like a tier 1 team. So, Cello, Yell, Bolts, and Shurs are getting more accustomed to tier 1 play. With that being said, I really like Cello as a one-off from MIBR and Furio. All right, core value and GPP segment here. Core play for me on this slate, I don't have one. I'm going to give you multiple GPP plays instead because I think we're going to want to mix and match Team Spirit. We're going to want to mix and match Gambit. I don't have a core play. Value play here on the slate is Vinny. I really like Vinny as a value play. Junior. Chopper I also really like as a value as well. I will also put Chopper in my GPP plays as well. Speaking of GPP plays, everyone from Team Spirit and everyone from Team Gambit, or from Gambit rather. Also for GPPs, again, I talked about this earlier. K Serrato is 9,400. So if you have Shiro, Axile, Dexter, Hobbit, and Mir and Yuri all around him, all right, people are going to be playing Shiro, you're playing Axile, you're playing Dexter, you're playing Hobbit, you're playing Mir. How many people are going to pay off the 9,400 for K Serrato? If you feel good about K Serrato going off on the slate, pivot. Make the GPP play. As we saw in this past slate, anything can happen in Counter-Strike DFS. Other GPP plays I really like Nafany, Exit, Cello. I mentioned Cello. Got a good feeling on Cello. 6,800 isn't a tough price to ask. Inters is an okay GPP play. OC for extra salt is a good GPP play. I wouldn't use him as a run back though. So maybe if you go Gambit and Fury or MIBR and you want to use OC as a run back, I'm okay with that. Chopper, Junior and Shuz. Marquee also, I'll throw that in there. I think he's probably better than maybe some of his stats indicate. My favorite team stack on this slate, I don't have one because my favorite two team stacks are Team Spirit and Gambit. Should be no surprise to anybody. My bold prediction is MIBR upset Furia 2-1. With that being said, everybody, Dan should be joining me on the podcast on the next podcast. Again, hit that like button, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you all know every single time one of these podcasts drop, and leave a comment down below. Good luck in your contests for this slate. Latest, peoples.